Hi everyone, Senior Scientist here. I wanted to bring you a quick update on the market, and we are very close to seeing a massive pump. Timing just can't get that right, and so I'll give some guesses here, but we're getting pretty close, is the bottom line. So I'm looking back at this is one of the bull cycles of Bitcoin, and this was posted by Blockchain Backer. And Bitcoin Cash has been following this chart for the last few years on the weekly scale. And so the structures themselves can give you an indication where we're at. Again, the timing is still questionable. So let me just kind of draw where we are at, either one of two places. We're doing a little bit of a dip right now across the crypto market for the most part. And that means we're there's if you look, there's a structure that is like this, kind of goes up, dips, goes up, dips, lower, and then goes sky high. And that's this structure here. Okay? So we are either putting in this dip here, meaning we'll pump and then have a little bit bigger dip following that, or we're putting in this dip right here, and then look at how it's just vertical from there. Okay. And why this is going to be so out of the entire bull run, this will be the most aggressive leg coming and the one that you do not want to miss. Because again, as I mentioned, Bitcoin Cash has been following this chart. I mean, almost identical. Not identical, there's variation. Uh, Now, keep in mind each one of these hash marks on this Bitcoin chart, what I can't figure out is it's not a one-to-one. It's not like, okay, one hash mark equals a day or a week. It's too tough to be able to figure that out, and even count up these hash marks can't do that. So it's not a one-to-one on the timing, but the structures themselves are all there over the last couple of years. I mean, I can just go through. I'll show you actually the comparison here, but the point is, I'm frustrated. I know everyone who's in it is frustrated. They think everything is rigged. It's all, look where we're at. I mean, assuming, which I don't even think is an assumption, it lines up. And it's been doing that for the last couple of years, 2, 3 years at least. And why wouldn't it continue here, right? And so I imagine that a lot of people probably thought that with Bitcoin, and a lot of people think that with Bitcoin right now. In fact, they think that it could be crashing, but we are very close. Now the timing, let's say we're on this dip here. If we're on that dip, we're within a few days of launching, and that would bring us maybe to the first, 2nd of September, maybe next week. Or we're on this dip. Again, I cannot make that out. It's one of those small scale things. I mean, look how small that is. If we're on that first dip over here, that first one, let me go back. So if we are, let's do a different color. So if we're on this first dip here, then we could be a couple weeks out. And what's interesting about that is it would put us close to the Fed rate announcement if they're going to be cutting rates. Maybe that's the catalyst, or I don't. I think it gets priced in before that though. So either way, if you're thinking about selling right now, I mean, really just if you've been in it this long, just wait 2, 3 more weeks because I think when we get this pump, this massive pump, it'll be confirmation. And I'm using Bitcoin Cash with the understanding that if Bitcoin Cash is going to pump, most other things are pumping too, or everything else is in the bull run, right? In the bull cycle. So I just know the Bitcoin Cash chart the best. All right. So I'm going to cancel the markings on this so that I can show you. and flip back and forth. Okay, so I mentioned where we're at, that little thing there. Now I'm going to show you the weekly on Bitcoin Cash. Okay, and just look at these charts here. Okay, so the price chart on this is on the weekly, and so the price chart is up here. All right, and so just notice how we kind of started off here. It kind of goes down, right? And then you get this up right there. Um, anyway, I want to kind of just zoom in on this, that correction, that ABC. So this would be like um, a A wave, B, C, and then up here. And when we go up, that's that structure that I mentioned, where it's kind of like down, up, down, and then up like that. And so what I can't tell, because it's such a, this is on the weekly now, I can't tell if if this red candle, if it's coming up and that red candle is the down and then that up there and then down and up, I can't tell, because it could also be that this whole thing is just an up and it's also putting in that down, and they'll go up there and then down again and then up. So what either way, it's going to be pumping. It should get up there. Now if it starts coming down, now we know there's another dip. It'll probably come down, um, probably down to about 490 bucks if it does start coming down from about there. So that would put it at about $650 on Bitcoin Cash. If it starts coming down about 650, then you can know that it's probably going to come, and it's going to be pretty quick, within a week. It'll probably come all the way back down to about 490, and then it'll take off. So that's possible. All right. So again, let's go back so I can flip back and forth, discard changes. And here, I mentioned that ABC. So I'm sure there's an easier way to write on the screen. I don't know iPhones at all, sorry. But that's this here. A coming down, B, C, and then we're coming up right there, and that's where we have our structure. All right. And so this, here we had that top come down, boom. All right, so that's Bitcoin Cash. The only difference is this here on Bitcoin Cash on the weekly. It came down and we had like this, and then it came up, and then it's so that's the one difference. But you can just look at these things. Again, I'm just going to flip back and forth. If you need convincing, I mean, just take a screenshot of this, then go on the weekly on Bitcoin Cash and see for yourself. So there it is. I see all these features. I wish I could draw easily on here. Maybe there is a way to do it. I don't know. But we have that peak at the beginning on the left side of the screen. Kind of comes down on a little plateau. Kind of comes down a little plateau, then it drops again, and there we do our running flat, if you will. And this had more of a V. That's the only difference. Okay, and then it comes up. And that came up, and then it goes into the ABC correction. That's those three peaks. We're putting on that we're on that third peak, and on that third peak, that's where we have that little structure right there, and then that massive pump. So why do I say it's a massive pump? Okay, this is Bitcoin. It might not look as massive, but notice where this is important, because this is where it goes. So what's important is that this has to go way above this peak here, right? And then it comes back down and corrects there. So, certainly you can take profits up there. Because again, this structure has been following it for so long. So my point is this is at Wyckoff too. So it's got to go above and then come back down and test the top of the trading region. So where is this peak on Bitcoin Cash? This is where it's cool. Okay, cancel. Okay. Well, actually, I'm gonna pull up Bitcoin Cash on here. That peak is, I gotta get going because I think I got my contractor. He's probably almost here. Right here. Excuse me. That's that peak that it has to get well above. All right, let's try this again. All right. So that peak there, whoops. So this pump that's coming up, you don't want to miss this one, is where, and again, I don't know the timing. I'm not going to even try to do that anymore. It's just frustrating me and frustrating everybody else. And then you go, oh, wow, these people are idiots. And we are. But I don't know what I did there. I don't know what happened to the brush. Huh. Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing. But this next pump has to go straight up and get above that middle peak. That's at 1600. And so my target is 2285 in a very short amount of time. Um, yeah, that's one of my targets. I think I also have a little bit higher up there. No, that might be right. Oh, you know what I was doing? I was looking at the market cap. Market cap is a little bit better, I think. Yeah, about 22 to 2800, I would say, is where we're heading to. And I can't tell if it's the very next move or the one after that. But either way, we're very, very close. So just hang in there for a couple more weeks. You'll see. In 2, 3 weeks, everything will be confirmed, and everybody's going to be wanting to jump in. But keep in mind, that's a straight up and down pump, probably only lasting a couple weeks at most, maybe even shorter than that. Now it might jump 100% in a day. Um, just watch, because it's going to correct for about a month or so, and it'll come all the way back down to the top of that middle peak, maybe even a little bit lower. But that top of the middle peak, that's still 1600. If you just want to hang in there, I don't think so I think there's going to be at least three pumps coming for this bull run. This next one is probably going to be the most aggressive, straight up and down, and then it'll correct for a while. There'll be a lot of volatility, followed by another one that will get above that. I don't think it will be as aggressive. It'll be a little bit more gradual, and then there will be at least one more after that. All right. We'll go through those things though once we get this pump. So just if it jumps up in one day, it's not done. This next pump will take a few days, but it is going to go pretty vertical pretty quick. All right, peace.